Welcome back. If you're just joining us, let me quickly give you a recap on what's been happening in the country from morning. Well, simultaneous protests have broken out in multiple cities. These are some of the visuals we've got from Bengaluru, Delhi, Patna, Chandigarh, in Hyderabad, in Chennai, in Lucknow. All these places we've seen simultaneous protests break out. These are the visuals now coming in of the Mandi House metro station where the shutters are down. Remember, over 15 metro stations in the national capital are now shut under advisory by the Delhi police in order to maintain law and order. Now, this is clearly a situation where it is protests on one side being faced by lockdown on the other. What you see, the graphic on your screen talks about all those stations which have now been shut. It goes all the way through several lines, so we would advise you to very carefully look at them and plan your travels accordingly. Also, a quick update, if you want to stay updated on what's really happening when it comes to the situation of the metros, you can always go to the DMRC Twitter handle. They've been very active all morning and being constantly updating all those. All those details are also available on ndtv.com, so stay tuned for that as well. Apart from that, apart from the metros, what we've also seen is that lots of flights have been cancelled this morning as that entire U-turn from Delhi to Gurgaon going to the airport has been shut. A lot of cabin crew has not been able to reach as well. There has been a massive hours-long traffic jam that has engulfed Delhi and Gurgaon. We'll bring that shots for you as well. Entire NH8, which is choco block, and people who were trying to make their way through the offices have not managed to do that. Some schools now asking parents to come and fetch their kids back. We still are getting reports from viewers tweeting to us and giving us details that those who left for office at 8 in the morning are still stuck in traffic. At the moment, that's the situation in Delhi, but across the country, you can see these pictures from Jammu. In fact, let me just pause for a minute and let you listen to what these protesters are saying. Pictures coming in from Red Fort, where it all began at 10 in the morning. These buses that you see, at least 15 of them filled with protesters there, have now been taken in under detention. Look at the amount of police presence at Red Fort over there. Unprecedented amount of police presence. The police is saying that Section 144 is in place. Prohibitory orders have been put in. There is no permission for protest and thus they will be taken away. So buses full of people now being taken away. We are told they've been taken to Bhavana. But Section 144 not just in Delhi. In fact, it's all across the country, as that map on your screen tells you. In Uttar Pradesh, in Karnataka, in Madhya Pradesh. Uttar Pradesh, in fact, the only state at the moment where prohibitory orders have been imposed throughout the state. It's been a blanket order of sorts. Section 144 throughout Uttar Pradesh is in place. And these pictures and the numbers really only rising as the day progresses. In fact, earlier in the day at Red Fort, my colleague Saurabh Shukla was there and he spoke to people, protesters who stepped out, not from political parties, not from student unions, not with any motive. General, regular, everyday people who've decided to come out and voice their opinion. Listen in.
I'm Madeline Bhatnagar.
Bhatnagar, you were here to protest. Now what cops are saying?
They're saying they're taking everybody away, so we'll wait till they take us away. We are against the CAA and the NRC. I am a Christian, my husband is a Hindu, my children are Indian. Okay? And I don't believe in this rule at all. And I think the media needs to stand with everybody.
So, from where you are, ma'am? You are from Delhi?
I like NDTV. They're doing a very good job.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Let me tell you.
I'm from Janakpuri.
You're from Janakpuri. How many people are with you?
No, me and my daughter have come.
All right. You and your daughter were here. And it was a common call.
Support.
It was a common call for all the civilians to come here and
yeah, they just told us come and express your solidarity against the CAA. So we're doing it.
So
There's
that is-
nothing much we can do.
So this is Miss.
Government being what it is.
This is Mrs. Bhatnagar who was here to protest with her daughter, and like Mrs. Bhatnagar, there are other 100 protesters are not allowed to protest. She's saying that she is herself a Christian, her husband is Hindu, and her children are Indians. So there are a lot of people who are coming here.
All right, just one of the many voices over there. And this is another voice, this time from Bengaluru. That's noted historian Ram Guha. He was speaking with NDTV, and this is what happened.
At the town hall, and more protesters being taken away by police. Police are rushing to remove people who have come here as protesters insist on arriving here, even though Section 144 is in fact in place. But protesters who want to have their say they have a right, a democratic right to protest. And here we see protesters being taken away by police. This student here, she looks like a student being pushed away by women police, being taken into the bus. That is the situation right now as protesters are being moved away and being taken into the bus. Police in riot gear being taken away from here. This student also being taken into the bus. Section 144 is in place. Prohibitory orders are in place from early morning today to Saturday midnight. But people have tried to come here to make their point clear. Students arriving in this bus, insisting that they have the right to protest. They insist that this is what they should be allowed to do. Questions being raised over whether Section 144 should be imposed here based on violence that has happened elsewhere. But a lot of emotion here. A lot of emotion here as people are being rounded up and being taken away. The policemen here just giving instructions to wait till the bus is full before actually moving away.
Excuse me, madam, hello.
But he is starting the bus, and the bus is moving away with agitated protesters. This bus moving ahead to fill up with more protesters as the police do in fact are loading more protesters into the bus. More protesters being loaded in over there. We see people actually getting there. Being taken away, being loaded into the bus now. We have police here in riot gear making sure that people are moving on, that protests are not being allowed. Section 144, of course, in place at this very, very busy traffic junction. We have the city market over there. We've got the center of town, really. But police stopping traffic there. Police trying to organize traffic here. The extra traffic, of course, these buses where students are being loaded in and taken away from the town hall. Here, this woman here being pushed away, being taken away. This woman saying she was going away, but being pushed into the bus, being taken away and being pushed into the bus. She said she was going away, she said she was not part of this, but being taken into the bus. This is what is happening here. So, women police here as well. Another man being pushed into the bus, being taken away, being pushed into the bus. As the police clamp down on people who have come here to protest at town hall. The situation here in Bengaluru's town hall. Lots of women police as well to handle women protesters. And the bus moving away here. This bus moving away here. As okay.
I will not become down. I'm not violating the constitution. Please, this is the wrong. Please, this is the wrong. I don't care about anything. This is all doing wrong. See, if I raise my, it is not my fundamental right. I want you all to tell me, is that it is not my fundamental right to raise my voice.
I am against the bill. Emotional protesters being taken away from the town hall. They have come here to protest. They say it is their right, but police are having none of it. Section 144 is in place, and police vans here, nobody allowed towards town hall, as protesters being taken away from town hall at a time with prohibitory orders in place. People questioning whether they should be here in Bengaluru, considering all of the protests on the issue in Bengaluru have been peaceful so far. But the police commissioner saying it's a precautionary measure, that peace should happen based on violence elsewhere in the country. He thought it was worth imposing that section. And for now, nobody allowed, no protester allowed to stay here at town hall, being moved away. Prohibitory orders in place, protests not allowed here in Bengaluru. With JM Kumar, Maya Sharma in Bengaluru at the town hall for NDTV.
And protests not being allowed just in Bengaluru, but in several other parts of the country as well. Now, these are pictures coming in from Uttar Pradesh in the Sambal area, where a bus has been set on fire. At the moment, let me tell you, this is the first instance of vandalism that we've seen since morning. So far, all the protests had been peaceful. But now in Sambal, UP, we understand one bus has been put on fire. UP, remember, the only state where Section 144 has been imposed throughout the state. And at the moment, you see that bus, it looks like a UP state bus, and police there in riot gear trying to control the situation. Alok Pandey joins us on the phone line. Alok, what more do we know about the situation in Sambal?
Well, I will not be able to give you too many details, but we also have the same details that you have, that a bus, it seems, has been set on fire at some place. It's very difficult to communicate right now because a lot of places internet is shut, and it's proving very difficult to, actually speak to people on the ground. But yes, that bus is on fire and it's coming in on the news agency ANI. I am not privy to too many details about what it is, but one would assume that it is a fallout of these proposed protests across Uttar Pradesh today related to the Citizenship Amendment Act.
But Alok, you are saying there is restrictions on internet in UP as well?
Well, we've been reporting it, Sonal. There are restrictions on internet in places like Aligarh, Sambal, also I think Meerut for a while, and some other districts. I won't be able to confirm the exact amount of districts right now. But yes, there certainly are restrictions on the internet at some places.
All right, so that's news. We so far had been talking about internet restrictions in Delhi and NCR, but at the moment it looks like there are internet restrictions in several parts of Uttar Pradesh as well. And one of those areas now being Sambal, where Alok Pandey says at the moment little information available, but the visuals speak perhaps louder than words at this point. These are visuals coming in of the police there trying to douse the fire of a UP State Transport Corporation bus set on fire. This is from Uttar Pradesh. All right, so that's the latest situation coming in from Uttar Pradesh. But what's happening here in the national capital? Neeta joins us here from Vijay Chowk. Neeta, first and foremost, the way the protests have been breaking out throughout the country, do we have any response from the government? Home Ministry directly looking after Delhi police, also reporting to them directly. What do we know from them? Where is the Home Minister? Where is the Prime Minister? Any response we have from the government on this massive spree of protests that have taken over the country?
Zonal, the government is trying its maximum effort. They are putting in maximum efforts to reach out to every kind of, community. That is why we have seen that, especially in Delhi, in Jamia also, the Southeast District Police was doing community program. They were trying to reach out to the community level. They were also trying to reach out to elders, trying to explain to them the facts and myths about Citizenship Amendment Act. Even the government on their behalf, today, if you see all the leading newspapers, there are page full of ads, like page wide ads of Citizenship Amendment Act about facts and about myths also. The advertisements clearly state that as of now, no nationwide NRC has been announced. So this is a big admission as far as the government is concerned if they are putting it out in an advertisement. And that too in an advertisement which was published in newspapers of Hindi and Urdu, because these are two languages which are being read by maximum number of Indians all over country. But as far as Delhi is concerned, mobile services have been suspended in some parts of the city. That is for sure, because Delhi police has written to all the telecommunication operators and asked them to stop the SMS services, also internet services and also mobile connectivity, because they say they are taking a precautionary measure to restore the law and order of the city. Because despite section 144, in many places many number of people had gathered there to carry out peaceful protest also. But as far as Delhi police is concerned, they have been saying that even in Seelampur area, they initially started with the peaceful protest, but when they were trying to disperse the crowd, that is when the crowds went a little violent, and we saw that what kind of a situation was there. And even after that, Delhi police commissioner was also reprimanded by the Union Home Secretary himself. So to keep that in mind, that is why restrictions have been imposed. As far as border areas are concerned, Delhi police has mounted a strict vigil in and around all Delhi borders, because they say people in large numbers should not be allowed to come here in Delhi to protest. That is one fact of Delhi police. The second is that even in New Delhi area where I am standing, in certain parts, restrictions have been imposed. Krishna Menon Marg, where the Union Home Minister himself stays, in that lane also, traffic movement has been restricted. So obviously, section 144 has been imposed in many parts of the city, and so has the mobile connectivity has also been disrupted. But the government is saying that they are trying their best to restore law and order as far as the city is concerned. And as far as the entire nation is concerned, they are saying that they have been trying to reach out to everyone, and that is why we've seen...
I'm sorry to interrupt. I was asking you about the Prime Minister, and that's where the Prime Minister is at the moment. The Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, is in Portugal at this point, meeting with his counterpart over there. And that's a little photo op that just happened. We still wait to see or get any sort of response from the Prime Minister's office or the Home Minister's office as well on the current situation in the country. These protests started at 10 o'clock in the morning. It's about 2 o'clock now. And so far, Neeta, correct me if I'm wrong, have we had any response from the Home Ministry?
See, as far the Home Ministry will obviously come out with a statement, because we are waiting for that to happen. In an hour or so, we will be telling you exactly what they are saying. But as far as Delhi police is concerned, even the Government of India is concerned, we have reached out to senior officers in Government of India, and they have been saying, as far as even the metro services are concerned, they are saying that it's a continuous dynamic process, even though some of the metro stations have been shut by metro, but simultaneously some of them have been opened. The Delhi Police's special branch has been getting regular inputs from their operators that in certain areas people are going to collect, and that is why certain metro stations have been shut by the government. So they are taking every kind of a precautionary step to maintain the law and order. That's the side of the Delhi police.
All right.
Even Government of India is saying that
All
they
right.
have been trying to
There
reach
is
out
a clarification
every-
at this point. I just want to point out to our viewers.
community
Neeta, I'm sorry to pause you one more time. I'm sorry to interrupt one more time. While you were talking about it, we did show these pictures that are on your screen right now of the Prime Minister Narendra Modi meeting with his Portuguese counterpart. We were earlier made to understand that these were in Portugal, but now just a correction over there. This meeting is happening here in the capital. So the Prime Minister, as we speak, is meeting with his Portuguese counterpart, but that meeting is in the capital. The Prime Minister is pretty much here. Neeta, please carry on.
Continue.
Yes, as you were saying, the Prime Minister is also in Delhi, so is the Home Minister. In the morning, the Home Minister attended the 56th raising day of SSB, where he, addressed the paramilitary force and he lauded their efforts. But other than that, he did not say anything about the NRC or the Citizenship Amendment Act. But both Prime Minister and the Home Minister are very much in Delhi, and as far as the Union Home Minister is concerned, he stays in Krishna Menon Marg, and all roads, most of the roads leading to Krishna Menon Marg have been blocked, and the traffic movement along those areas has also been restricted. Sonal?
All right, so traffic restricted in those areas as well. Neeta, at the moment, we were made to understand that a lot of the offices in Gurgaon, they are now advising, the corporate offices over there are advising people to stay back at home and work from home because of these restrictions. Is the situation similar in Delhi? Because with CSEC, with other Central Secretariat and other areas, metro station also shut, with ITO junction also said to be sensitive at this point. Are government offices functioning all right? Do we see people turn up there?
Sonal, I am standing at Vijay Chowk, and this is the hub where all government offices are. If I can just show you around, people are taking a lunch, a walk after the lunch break. So as far as this area is concerned, it is all normal here. And as far as the government offices are concerned, all offices are functioning fine here in New Delhi area. However, as far as, Gurgaon is concerned, because some panic calls were made that Delhi borders are going to be shut and the movement is going to be restricted. Maybe that is why this kind of caution is being spread as far as Gurgaon offices are concerned. But as far as Government of India is concerned, they are saying there is no need to panic, because this is a precautionary step. At any time, even during 26th January, 15th of August, or whenever a big protest is happening in and around Delhi, such kind of precautionary steps are often taken by Delhi police, where the movement from the outskirts of Delhi is, regulated. In fact, it is regulated, but this time also it's being regulated, so it's no need to panic. Everything is normal. And as far as metro stations are concerned, some of them are shut, but it's a dynamic process. Simultaneously, some of them are also being opened. Sonal?
All right, Neeta, so that's what the police and the government officers are saying. But at the moment, a live update from Gurgaon is that a lot of people who left homes at 8 o'clock in the morning are still stuck in jams. They still haven't reached their destination and they're still struggling with getting to any place at this point. We're also getting reports, and people have been tweeting to us as well, that Cyber Hub, a place where all the offices are, there's barely anybody over there. In fact, these visuals on your screen right now tell a very different story. This entire route, and this is the road for the benefit of our viewers, which connects Gurgaon all the way to Delhi. This is NH8, and that's been chock-a-block since morning. These visuals have been sent to us by viewers who are sitting in their offices, some of them who managed to reach there, and they clicked these pictures and they sent it to us. So that's the situation in Gurugram. Not very happy situation over there. We've also talked about metro stations now being shut as a fallout and under advisory by the people. We're also looking at a situation when at least 2 service providers have now come on record to say that there has been cut down of communication. We saw a tweet by Airtel. We also saw one clarification coming in by Vodafone, and now the DCP and DCP of the area in Delhi also clarifying that there are at least 5 areas where they have decided to cut down communication to ensure law and order. Now, I'm told these are fresh visuals on your screens coming in from Ahmedabad. Resistance there being seen, and now it looks like Lathi charge has just begun by the Ahmedabad police on protesters. We wait to see what exactly is the location, what spot this is at. But we are told this is Ahmedabad, Gujarat, where protests against the Citizenship Amendment Act broke out. We saw just a little while earlier that the protesters had come and blocked a bus of the police, and then finally police got into action and Lathi charging all of them over there. These visuals now being seen not just in Ahmedabad, not in Uttar Pradesh, not just in Delhi, not in Hyderabad and Bengaluru, in Jammu, in places like West Bengal, in the northeast. Today we are talking on a day when nationwide protests have broken out. Multiple cities, multiple people have now stepped out on the roads saying this is not my country. Citizenship Amendment Act does not define India. And what we are seeing constantly is that they are faced with resistance by the police. In some places, it has gone a little violent, like the one you see right now in Ahmedabad, in Lucknow just some time back, in UP, beg your pardon, in some time back, we saw a bus being set on fire as well. But by and large, protests have been peaceful. I just want to underline this fact. By and large, protests have been peaceful, especially the ones in Delhi, where the fear was that in wake of what happened at Jamia just last Sunday, and what happened in New Friends Colony last Sunday, things could get out of hands, and there had been a clampdown. Section 144 had been put in place. Permission for protests had been denied. But despite that, bus is full of people, have been detained, but no violence reported so far. In fact, even in Bengaluru, if we can go back to those visuals again, in Bengaluru, this morning at Town Hall, there were massive protests. A noted historian, Ram Guha, was there as well. And while he was talking to NDTV, telling us why he's there, standing there with a poster of Mahatma Gandhi in hand and talking about the constitution, the police came in, picked him up and took him away. In the capital, we've also seen people like Yogendra Yadav being taken into custody. So that's what happened in Bengaluru. Let me pause for a minute and make you listen to what happened, the exchange over there. All right, so that was Ahmedabad, but this is what's happening in Gurugram. As we speak, kilometers long choco-block traffic on cars just standing still on the road. And this is what Gurugram Traffic Police has said, saying due to sealing of the Delhi-Gurugram border, there is heavy traffic that has been seen. Borders at NH8 and also MG Road, they have been shut. Now remember, this is crucial. Why? Because there are two roads that connect Delhi to Gurugram. One is the NH8, that's the national highway, the visuals that you just saw on your screen over there. And then there is MG Road on the other side. And both those roads have now been blocked by Delhi police. That is the admission of the Gurgaon police over there. And with that, they also advise citizens to stay indoors and take alternate routes. But is that an alternate route really possible? Well, the updates we are getting, people who've been tweeting to us have been talking about how those even who left early in the morning are still stuck in jams. People have missed their flights, and a lot of them now getting panic calls, parents getting calls from their schools, from the schools of their kids, asking them to take the kids back. A lot of corporates now advising to work from home, as it's just not, it's a little sensitive to step out at this point. All right, we now have a live report coming in. We can go across to my colleague Arvind, joining us from the capital at Mandi House. Arvind, take us through what you see around.
Sonal, we are standing at Mandi House today morning. This is where the gathering of protesters happened. In fact, several senior left leaders, they gathered here for a march against the Citizenship Amendment Act. Senior left leaders like Sitaram Yechuri, D. Raja were detained by the Delhi police at this very location. But now protests have, actually there is no protest here. In fact, Delhi police personnel have been deployed here to make sure that people again don't gather at this center point, and again they don't start marching towards the central Delhi. That's why we could see deployment of police still here, but as of now it's very calm. There are no protests here, there are no protesters here, but Delhi police making all precautionary measures, like they have still shut the metro gates in and around this particular place to make sure that there is no gathering of protesters here. Also, what we are hearing is that protesters are actually moving towards Jantar Mandir, where they are actually gathering there for a protest against the Citizenship Amendment Act. Even there, what we are hearing is that police personnel are deployed to make sure that those protesters, they don't march toward Parliament. In fact, earlier in the day, the special cell of the Delhi police had asked the service providers providers to temporarily suspend internet and also voice and SMS services in Mandi House area also. But now, because all the protesters have been evacuated from here, who have been protesting here, because all those protesters have been evacuated from here, so that particular temporary closure of internet and voice services have been revoked. Now internet is working fine here. Also, even the traffic is also very much normal here. Sonal.
All right. And Arvind, earlier when I spoke with Sukirti and she was at Red Fort, she said because of the clampdown and they'd shut down that road basically, the protesters there were trying to take an alternate route. She was marching along with them and there was an alternate route that they were taking. So you're effectively saying that at the moment, the march that was called at Mandi House is not in effect and they're moving to an alternate location at Jantar Mantar instead?
Yeah, Sonal, earlier the call was for a march from Mandi House, but now because Delhi police has shut all the entry and exit points in and around Mandi House, so now they have found an alternate place, that is Jantar Mantar. In fact, what we heard from JNU students and also some other students, also some local leaders, is that now they are calling all the protesters to gather at Jantar Mantar, because even now we saw few students have already gathered at Jantar Mantar. Even some JNU students, also DU students are also coming to Jantar Mantar. So all this crowd who have been asked to gather at Mandi House have been now asked to come to Jantar Mantar. So the protest will start at Jantar Mantar. That's what we are being told by some of the students who are actually organizing this particular protest. Even some of the senior Delhi police officials who have been deployed here, even now they have been asked to move towards Jantar Mantar area. Though we could see some Delhi police personnel are also deployed here to make sure that another round of protesters, they don't again gather at this very particular point, creating a traffic jam here. Sonal.
And you know where you are standing, Arvind, it's very close to the ITO junction as well. And we earlier got reports that there were some protests emerging at the ITO junction. Could you give us an update on what's happening there?
Earlier when we came to this particular point, even ITO junction was closed. Even this particular traffic was also shut because of that protest. But even those protesters have been removed from that particular place where they have been protesting at the ITO junction. That's why we could see even the traffic is also normal here, because they have opened the traffic. This route towards ITO is also very much open. So all the protesters who have been protesting at the ITO junction have been removed. They have been taken to the nearby, they have been detained, they have been taken to the nearby police station to make sure that again they don't gather at that particular point. That's why again I have been saying, that's why we could see deployment of police at very important junction point to make sure that all these protesters, they don't again regroup at the same point and again start protesting. So now only point all the protesters are saying is that they are moving towards Jantar Mantar, because there people have already gathered, and even the police are not stopping them to move towards Jantar Mantar also. That's why now protesters who have been protesting at all these points, they are now moving towards Jantar Mantar.
So that's important. Arvind, you are saying the police is also not stopping them from moving towards Jantar Mantar. So that is going to be the next place where everybody converges.
Yeah, Sonal. In fact, that's what even when we spoke to a police official who was here, when we asked them whether, because everything you did not give permission for any of the protests to happen in the central Delhi, but now what we are hearing is that some of the students have already gathered at Jantar Mantar. So that police personnel told us that we can't stop all the students, we can't stop everyone from doing protests, but Jantar Mantar is relatively a safe area for protests also. There won't be much of a traffic jam, there won't be much of a big issue. That's why we have let we have actually opened, we have directed the protesters towards Jantar Mantar, so that if at all they want to protest, they can protest at that very particular point.
All right, very important clarification over there. Delhi police not letting them march in Mandi House and other places, but asking them to move towards Jantar Mantar instead. That's an important clarification. Thanks, Arvind, for bringing that to us. We can also now go across live to Sukirti Dwivedi, who is at the Red Fort area where it all began this morning. Sukirti, when last I spoke with you, you talked about how protesters were trying to find an alternate route to still march ahead. At the moment, what's the situation?
Well, Sonal, there were a lot of protesters who tried going towards the Shaheed Park at ITO, but all of them were stopped midway, even after we showed our viewers at the point where we were marching with those protesters. Soon after that, a big group of policemen with their helmets and the batons, everything, they came and they stopped the protesters and dispersed the entire crowd and sent them back. So far nobody from the protesters that started from Red Fort has been able to reach the Shaheed Park at ITO, because The entire area has been barricaded, even near the Delhi gate, when the protesters tried that they could divert some of the people through that route. Even near the Delhi gate, they have stopped movement of vehicles, as well as people are being stopped through barricades. So the protesters were unable to reach there. However, the Nishad Rajmarg, which is right next to the Red Fort, there still 200 protesters have decided to do a dharna. They've just sat down on the street. They were saying that they also wanted to move ahead, but they were stopped by all the heavy police deployment over there. We spoke to the protesters present there, and also this is the conversation that we had with them, and this is what the scene looks like over there. The internet and call services there have been jammed, so we have come 1 kilometer away from that spot and are coming to you live. But the conversation that we had at the protest spot there with all those protesters gathered there, this is what they had to say. Standing on the Nishad Rajmarg right next to the Red Fort, and if you can see the hundreds and hundreds of protesters that are gathered here, all of these people had planned to walk to the Shahid Park in ITO, but now all of them have been stopped here and are sloganeering over here at this point. If I show you the other end of it, you will see the heavy amount of police personnel that has been deployed over here. The police has also been trying to negotiate with these protesters here and has been telling them not to march ahead. If we can show a little behind, you will see all those police buses that are over here. The police also has their helmets on, they have their batons on. They are also ready with tear gas shells if the need for that also arises over here at this point of time. But the protesters here are not backing out at the moment. If you see this side, the protesters are all here for quite some time. Even the internet services and the calling services in the area have been affected. I have a few protesters here with me and we will get you their voices. Sir, आप लोगों से बात करना चाहेंगे. शहीद पार्क जाने की आप लोगों का प्लान था, पर अब इस तरह से पुलिस ने रोक दिया है. क्या अब मांगे हैं प्रशासन से, पुलिस से आप लोग क्या अपील करने, क्या इस में बातचीत कर रहे हैं?
जी, पुलिस हमें अच्छी तरीके से मुजाहिरा नहीं करने देती और वहाँ से हमें बस में बैठा कर कहीं कहीं ले जाकर हमारे साथियों को छोड़ा गया 10-10 किलोमीटर दूर तक. तो हम एहतजाज करने के लिए आए हुए हैं यहाँ, सीए जो बिल है उसके लिए. और
आप लोग इस तरह से कब तक प्रोटेस्ट जारी रखेंगे? पुलिस ने अभी आप लोगों को रोक दिया, उसके बावजूद भी किस तरह से जारी रहेगा?
मैम, जब तक हमारे सीनियर्स हमें जाने को नहीं कहते हम लोग यही डटे हुए हैं. और अगर आवाज़ उठाना भी जुर्म हो गया हिंदुस्तान में, अब जनता बोल भी नहीं सकती, अपनी बात भी नहीं रख सकती. अब बोलना भी गुनाह हो गया हिंदुस्तान के अंदर. मतलब जनता अपनी आवाज़ भी नहीं कह सकती, हमें आके बोलने का भी हक नहीं है अब रोड पे. बस ये भी लेके 14. मतलब ये भी क्राइम हो चुका है हिंदुस्तान में कि कोई अपनी आवाज़ नहीं निकालेगा, जो बोलेगा वो क्रिमिनल है.
So these are the protesters here saying that they are being treated like criminals. All that they wanted to do is carry out a peaceful protest, but all of them have been stopped now. And as you can see, the heavy amount of police deployment that is here in the area, as you can see, all of these policemen that are going to stop these protesters from marching ahead. We are also hearing reports that the network services in the area have also been affected, because of which many people are unable to make calls at the moment. But the protest here right outside Red Fort continues. The initial plan was to head forward towards the Shahid Park in ITO, but that has not happened so far, and all of these people have been stopped right next to the Red Fort for at least around a 2-kilometer radius. No vehicle movement is being allowed. There is heavy barricading in the area. With camera person Shashikant, this is Sukirti Dwivedi for NDTV.
All right, we'll go back to Sukirti also in just a bit. That these are pictures coming in from Thiruvananthapuram this morning, where we seem to be having some very angry protesters, young people on the streets trying to break barricades, where police is ready on the other side with water cannons on the other side. So these are protesters who are trying to break barricades at this point, raising slogans also against the Citizenship Amendment Act. And the police we see on the other side standing by with preparations to not let them do so. Now things are fast moving, and in fact, if one could reflect on it, from morning they only seem to be escalating now. From morning onwards, when the first protest began here in the capital to one in Bengaluru, things are fast erupting and a spillover effect of sorts is happening that we see across the country. These pictures now from Thiruvananthapuram, where angry people are now on top of barricades, sloganeering is on. In fact, let me pause and let's try and listen what they're saying. All right, so that's the situation in Thiruvananthapuram. Let me go back to Sukirti Dwivedi joining us from Red Fort. We also have Arvind joining us from Mandi House. Both these places, remember, is where the protests were supposed to happen. Section 144 was imposed, and police, when it came to Red Fort, where you see Sukirti standing, took at least 15 bus full of people with them all the way to Bhavana, where they have been left, where Arvind is standing at this point at Mandi House. That was supposed to be the second point of protest, where it has now been called off, and now we are getting to know that they are diverting people to Jantar Mantar. Now that's going to be the new spot of protest. But Sukirti, where you are right now, it is one of the places mentioned under the disclaimer that we got from Delhi police this morning, that internet services, calls, voice, SMS has been shut down. Do you have internet at this point on your phone?
Well, Sonal, I do not have internet at this point on my phone. I have walked at least 1 kilometer away from that spot on the Nishad Raj mark that we just showed to our viewers, where I was speaking to protesters. Me and my crew had to walk at least 1 kilometer from that spot to even get enough network to even make calls. When I was standing at that particular spot where I was talking to protesters, I did not have access to calls. I could not receive or send any SMSs. I did not have internet. So for nearly 200 protesters who are sitting there, and for the hundreds of policemen that are deployed there at that point of time, there is absolutely no network access of any kind at that spot over there. So for at least definitely in the Red Fort area, the roads, the Nishad Raj Marg, and in the vicinity of the Red Fort area, the people are unable to access internet or make calls of any kind, or even access the SMS service. I spoke to other protesters there. I spoke to the media colleagues. If anybody had, could access any particular telecom network, but Airtel, Vodafone, Jio, everything is failing at that point of time in the Red Fort area. People are unable to access internet, calling or SMS services in the vicinity of the Red Fort. Anybody who wants to have any kind of network access will at least have to walk 1 kilometer or 2 kilometers from that area, because vehicle movement is also not being allowed.
Just let me interrupt you for a minute, because we are getting some fresh visuals at this point. These are visuals of the BJP senior most officer over there, JP Nadda. JP Nadda meeting, we are told, with Afghan refugees. And these are people, we are made to understand, who are pro-CAA, pro the Citizenship Amendment Act. So while the country is on the boil, while the country is protesting, BJP is at this point meeting up with leaders who they believe in, people, refugees at this point, who are happy with the Citizenship Amendment Act. We wait to see what location this is happening. But currently, all right, this is happening at the BJP headquarters on the Deen Dayal Marg in the national capital, at ITO actually. ITO place where internet has been shut down, where Section 144 has been imposed. Text messages and phone calls are not going through. But while outside on the streets, people are pouring out and angry, marching and protesting against the CAA. Right there at ITO, at the BJP headquarters, you have JP Nadda over there meeting in with the Afghan refugees, and all of them said to be in favor of the Citizenship Amendment Act. So that's that's one thing at least we've seen of the government. The government has been very silent over these protests so far, at least. But now, at least, we have some version coming in from JP Nadda. I'm told we also now have a fresh report coming in from Alok Pandey in Uttar Pradesh, a state which has seen a blanket Section 144 enforced since morning. Take a look at what Alok found.
There's a situation right now related to the proposed protests against the Citizenship Amendment Act. On one hand, on one side, you have the police who say that they will not allow any kind of protest because Section 144 is clamped in town, meaning the assembly of crowds is not allowed. On the other hand, you have about 600 to 700 protesters who are trying to make their way to the Parivartan Chowk in Hazratganj, which is the central part of Lucknow, because they say that they have a right to protest and that they will protest come what way. You can see that they have a lot of these banners and posters in their hands, and they are saying that they will continue this protest. I'm going to move a little forward and try and speak to a few people. Ma'am, the police is saying that they will not allow you to protest their section 144. What is your strategy? Why are you here?
It's a non-violent protest. We'll be here. We'll be here every day till we did NRC and CA is scrapped. It's simply every day.
What do you feel about the police clamping section 144 across the
This
state?
is our right to protest. It's a democratic right given to us by this constitution. And we will protest. We'll keep protesting till the NRC and CA is scrapped.
Thank you so much. So there you have it. Even these people, some of whom are lawyers, some of whom holding these banners and placards here. The police asking us to move a little ahead because they are using more barriers and barricades. Like I said, at the moment, both sides here insisting. One of them saying it is their right to protest. The others, the police, saying that they will not allow it. With camera person Rajesh Gupta, this is Alok Pandey, NDTV.
All right, so that was Alok Pandey talking about the protest that is happening in Lucknow at the Parivartan Chowk over there. Good numbers there. Earlier, we also saw a protest by the Samajwadi Party, a more political protest, a more symbolic one done right outside the assembly. But we were talking about the internet shutdown, which has reached the national capital now. And that's the map on your screens right now, where there is no internet, there is no SMS, there is no call facility available. And we've marked out those areas for you. At the moment in Seelampur, in Jafrabad, in Mustafabad, in Bhavana, in Jamia Nagar, in Shaheen Bagh and in Mandi House. So mostly in the eastern part of Delhi, where there were protests and violent ones just the day before. In those areas, internet, mobile connectivity, SMS has been cut down. Bhavana has been cut down because remember all the detained protesters have been taken there to open grounds, which is generally the procedure by Delhi police. And what you see in the south area, those, the Jamia Nagar, Shaheen Bagh, etc., Mandi House, those are the areas where we were going to have protests today. So there also internet has been shut down. Internet, and we just don't mean mobile data at this point, we mean SMS and we mean call facilities as well. So that's the situation in the capital at the moment. The update at this moment at 2:26 this afternoon is that protests have spilled all over the streets of the country, from Jammu to Kolkata, Ahmedabad to Guwahati, from Hyderabad to Bengaluru, Lucknow, all the way to the capital. People are now out on the streets in huge numbers to protest and voice their opinion against the Citizenship Amendment Act. What you see in those protests, those faces, some are political parties, some are student unions, but also significantly the common man. Several of them who've now turned out on the streets to say, this is not my India. We're going to slip into a break. More news and details on the other side.